And he was astonished. Anyway, and then I said, so what do you think? And he said, I don't think so. I think we're going to pass on this. Fortunately, there's life beyond places like the New York Times and the Atlantic. You can just blog about it, which is what I did. And I said, I'm just putting the video out. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to upload it to Vimeo. Maybe Vimeo is going to shut it down. I don't know. Is this X-rated? I don't know. It's weird. That much I know. But in any case, so there I was writing in a very different style. I decided I'm just going to play this up. and embedded the video. And what was really interesting to me is that actually I'm not exactly sure that it's true that a place like the New York Times or a journal magazine actually is the only place where you can sort of reach the non-science fan, especially because of embeddable video. So this video was getting embedded all over the place, and then people would come to the blog and read it. So, I mean, last time I checked, there were like 200,000 views of this stuff. Maybe it's just because a lot of people have a fetish about duck sex. I don't know, but I'm hoping that along the way they learn about sexual selection and things like that. So, so a couple of the lessons that I draw from this is that right now, at least, I see science journalism as being kind of a somewhat stable ecosystem with large organizations, smaller ones that are sort of interacting with each other. In the future, it may not be the New York Times or the Atlantic where there's a lot of focus of readers, but I do think that even online, there are going to be large organizations with editing procedures and so on, and then there's going to be these sort of smaller niches where the rules are different. And I sort of feel like right now, at least, that I'm kind of inhabiting those different worlds, and it's okay that I don't mind that my editor said no a second time around to duck sex. That's okay, because there are other ways to do that. And so I guess I am a little optimistic myself. Yeah, I know. We were like arguing, like, who gets to be the one who's going to gloom and doom, and
I can spend 2 minutes being pessimistic if you'd like.
Let me give a little more joy, and then you can. So perhaps, like in a month, we'll all be. This whole ecosystem will all be on tablets. Maybe that is going to be where this interplay between large organizations and smaller ones, between formal science journalism and disturbing videos with commentary, all coexist in one little unit. So that's my vague prediction.
How many of you have actually just Googled duck sex?
Sounds better.
All right. Thank you very much to the panel. I hope you all found that interesting. And now let's get on conferencing. Who wants to ask some questions? Over there.
So perhaps you could just give the bloggers in the audience some bullet points about how we can behave more like professional journalists. Things about, how to...
Why do you want to do that?
Well, so I personally am sort of a blogger who aspires to be a journalist, and I haven't emerged from my cocoon yet, but I've been sort of steadily trying. I went around and I asked a bunch of senior editors at Wired for their favorite books on how to write well, and they suggested, art of craft feature writing, writing well, things like that. But perhaps you have some more tips that.
Well, I mean, I think you're on the right track. A big thing is just writing well. You can write in all kinds of different tones and learn how to structure a story, and not just buttering up Ed, but it's remarkable how quickly Ed seemed to master the art of informational storytelling, so that he's delivering really good scientific information and explaining findings in a clear way. That's always engaging. I think, you know, the blogging is changing the way people write in magazines. It's looser, it's more conversational. So study people who are getting a lot of traffic and whose work you admire because it's not just entertaining, it's solid. And, you know, see how they do it. How do they start the story? How do they build the middle? How do they end up? It's different than in a magazine, or often is.
So,
Read the other side. Go on.
if you tell enough people you're a journalist, they'll start treating you like that.
Read a lot, read a huge amount. Find people who write really well, who you like, and just read them. Try and draw in talent through osmosis. You know, I really think it's possible. As a good writer, you read someone putting something together in a really clear way, and it inspires you to try and do the same. Okay, you and then you.
Thanks. David, you talked a little bit about the sources of funding for journalism, and that you absolutely need to have money. And then you talked a little bit about money from foundations. Yet, I know at least 3 of you work for for-profit. I guess all 4 of you at some point work for for-profit organizations. Do you see the for-profit role in journalism starting to decline? Is it going to evolve toward non-profit? And if so, what does that mean for what you do?
I mean, I have a hard time making that call. I think people need to, somebody's got to figure out, might or might not figure out how to make money putting stuff online. That's a big challenge. Whatever they do there, I think that's going to need to be, and already is being supplemented by other ways of supporting writers so they can do important work, whether it's short or long. So you're going to get a mix of things like, oh, I can't bring it to mind, E360, Slate, online only, NLP as well as other places. But I think to do this more substantial work, people are going to look at different things. They're going to get a fellowship and a story feed. The story feed is not as much as it was. I mean, this is where you got to predict, do the crystal ball. I just don't know. I think it's going to turn. My feeling is it's going to turn to a mix. I know people who are already, you know, working on fellowships and so on.
Okay, so I'm a press officer in a large scientific organization, and this year we decided to reach out to bloggers from the press operation. And we were about to give them blogger stickers and allow them access to the press room. And we were quite convinced about doing that, but then when we did an informal survey, all the bloggers were very enthusiastic about it, but the journalists were not. And so we decided to leave it for another year. So what do you think about this?
Okay, so I'm a blogger and who has got access to some embargo press material through very kindly press officers. And I just think it's a really, really good idea. I can't see the arguments for not doing, actually, no, I tell you what, I know one argument for not doing it, which is that bloggers often have associations with specific institutions, and there might be a conflict of interest in giving people who work for a specific institution access to material ahead of the point of publication. That's fair enough. I do, however, think there are other benefits. You do get more people finding about your stuff, which is at the end of the day what a press office is all about. And people I think are worried about embargo breaks, and I think bloggers are very good at it. We have scheduling software on our WordPress or movable type, what have you, that allows you to just stick up a post and have it go online whenever. And a lot of mainstream outlets do embargo breaks all the time. So I get the argument why some people don't do it, but I think that it's a no-brainer.
So I'll add to another potential conflict there, which is that some groups don't allow grad students and postdocs access to embargoed material because it might be in their field and they'll get a head start. A week won't make much of a difference when they're talking about it.
Any questions? Okay, over there and then over there.
I would like to get your collective definition of science journalism, because I'm often mistaken for a science journalist. I'm human enough since I straddle both the scientific world and the world of writing. I tweet, I blog, I write science textbooks, I edit science textbooks, but I find myself on all these Twitter lists of science journalists, and am I wrong in saying, no, take me out? I'm not one of those people.